If you love gardening, one of the smartest things you can do is garden less. Really? Let's get into it. Thanks for watching the video today. I'm Diego, and my goal is to help you streamline gardening, to make gardening easier for busy people. When I look back at my garden this year, I realized that my garden space was too big. Managing a lot of annual crops over a large space became overwhelming at times. It was discouraging. Let's keep it real for a minute. A lot of us, me included, we just plant too much stuff. We want to just tell everybody, oh, look how much I planted this year. Look at me, I'm king gardener, I'm queen gardener. I can plant all this stuff. You love to show them how much you planted, but the big secret is you don't really like to show them what it looks like a few weeks or months after you planted it, because it looks so pretty on day 1, but on day 60, it looks like a dumpster fire. To solve that problem, I decided to shrink down my garden space. Grow less, grow better. Less space means there's less total plants to manage, assuming you're not increasing your planting density. And less management means it's probably easier to manage, and something that's easier to manage is probably more enjoyable, especially if you have a lot of other things going on in life. So drop the ego planting. No one cares except you about how much you plant. And while you care how much you plant, you probably care a lot more about how well that goes. Sure, it feels great to plant a whole bunch at the beginning of the day, but it feels equally, if not worse, to see everything you planted just go to waste. The negative feeling from planting all that stuff supersedes the high you got from planting it all in the first place. So stop the ego planting. I know you're guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. Just plant less and be happy with it. Less space became the direction, so the big question was, where do you take space from? And that's a question. If you're looking to shrink down your garden, how do you consider what areas to eliminate and what areas to shrink down? Here's my approach to that. One criteria I'm using is to get rid of unproductive areas just like this. I've had trouble growing in this area since day 1, actually this whole bed all the way down. I think a lot of the reason I'm struggling in this bed is because of the trees right behind me here. A lot of the roots are coming into this bed, and maybe the roots of the vegetables and the trees are clashing, resulting in poor crop growth. Whatever it is, soil, trees, roots, whatever, I'm having bad results here, and I'm not gonna fight it anymore. I'm just gonna take this bed out and not garden in it anymore. I'm gonna try and save all the soil that I do have, because I think the stuff on top that I put on top recently has been really good, so I'll move that topsoil to other beds, but then I'm just gonna put wood chips over the top. And the great thing about using wood chips over the top is this bed can sit here dormant for the foreseeable future, and if I ever want to plant into it again when my life looks different in the future, the wood chips have just been protecting and building what's underneath, so it can stay ready to go. The second criterion I'm using to eliminate land is what I'm calling best crop fit. I'm trying to look at the crops that I grow now and say, what areas do those crops grow best? And highlight those areas. Those areas stay. And where do those crops grow worse? And then those become potential areas to be eliminated. So when I think about best crop fit, I think about what crops am I growing, where do they grow best, and what is the management style required? Meaning like tomatoes. Tomatoes, I don't want to grow in a really tight space that I can't get access on both sides. Some of my beds are wider than others, so I'm leaving the wider beds for tomatoes. So in theory, I'll have tomato beds that remain. I'll also have potato beds that remain. I also am shifting some of my production from annuals to semi-annuals and perennials, like raspberries. Raspberries are perennials. You plant them once and they come up year after year. So if I'm going to plant a perennial, I want to find the best bed and location to grow those perennials in. So they're kind of tucked away, they have enough room to grow how they want to grow, and they get the right amount of sun or shade that they need. So when thinking about perennials, where's the best spot for those? One bed here, I might actually just put some apple trees in and just let it go and say, hey, I'm just growing perennials there. So longer lived crops. Semi-annuals would be like cover crops in my case, or very long growing crops. Tomatoes you could put in that category. But mostly I'm thinking cover crops. I'm trying to grow a lot of my own mulch. So I'm looking at what beds are the best for semi-annuals. Ones that are out of the way, ones that I can plant my cover crops in to use for mulch on other beds. After all of this rearranging, I'll have less total garden space and less total annuals growing. I'll be shifting annual production to semi-annuals and perennials. And as a result, I think I'm actually going to have more produce to eat at the end of the day. And that's kind of that backwards, ironic thinking. But I think I'm going to have more because I'm going to be able to focus more intensely on what I have left. So I'll be able to manage what I have left better, resulting in more yield. It's that how much can you actually manage equation. You can grow a whole bunch of stuff, mismanage it, and not have much to show for it at the end of the day, or you can grow less, manage it really well, and actually end up getting more to show for it at the end of the day. It's that time of year where a lot of people are doing garden planning, so look back at your gardening year that was and ask yourself, did I plant too much this year? Could I garden better with less space? And if I'm going to garden with less space, where can I take that space from? Consider moving some of your annual production into semi-annuals and perennial production if you're having trouble managing what you do grow, because I really do think you can grow better growing less. Remember, nobody's forcing you to grow the way that you're growing. If it's overwhelming, step back, look at what you're doing, and ask yourself, is there an easier way? Because there probably is. Gardening should be fun. Don't take the hobby out of the hobby. If it's overwhelming, pause, step back, and look at what you're doing and try and identify what is the cause of the overwhelm and how can you remove that cause from the situation so you can get back to having fun again in the garden. For me, it's getting rid of some garden space that I just don't need. What do you need to remove from your garden to make it easier and to make it more fun? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be nice, be thankful, and do the work.
Thanks for watching the video today. We appreciate that. Watch more great videos right here.